John Brabender is the chief strategist for Rick Santorum 2012. He joins us now. John, great to talk to you. How are you, sir?
Oh, very happy to have you on today. Thank you for having me.
No, you're on with me, but that's okay.
I know. I thought I'd just hijack your show if that's okay.
That's all right. You know what's funny is Ron Paul came on yesterday and he said, "It's great to have you with me." And I'm like, okay. But I do that too.
But he meant it very sincerely, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. John, look, you know, and I know you've talked about this yourself, but look, since early January in Iowa, when I first raised the issue of a Gingrich and Santorum alliance, Newt Gingrich's first response out of his mouth the day of the caucuses was that, you know, he basically didn't rule it out. He saw it was possible because what good friends they were over time, and they agreed on a lot of issues. And now, you know, with the passage of time and how these primary and caucus states have gone down so far, I have to ask you, are you in any conversations with the Gingrich campaign about such an alliance?
Look, I have a lot of friends in the Gingrich campaign, so I do talk to them quite a bit, but it's not where we're having negotiations or anything. That would be completely wrong. I do think that...
Wait, hold on a second. When you say it's completely wrong, why is it for the betterment of the country?
I'm not saying it's wrong to do. I'm saying it would be just a wrong report to say that it's happening.
I see. But is there any chance that might happen over the next few days? Given the numbers and given what the top analysts out there are saying about how this could possibly play out in the next couple of months, and the impossibility really for a Gingrich nomination at this point, why wouldn't that be for the good of the country, the good of the conservative movement? I mean, I'm just reading my emails about this.
Yeah, I think your question is very fair for two reasons. One is what's happening now, what we're seeing is it's a minority of the party who basically is picking our nominee, and frankly, it's the more moderate part of our party that's doing that because, as you know, we are splitting votes. And so it is time for the conservatives and for the Tea Party types to unite behind a single candidate, and we will stop Romney. Number two is, the reality is, in the last 6 weeks, other than his home state, the best finish that Newt Gingrich has had is second to last. And so I think Rick Santorum has proven he is the one that can go up against Mitt Romney. We're seeing that in state after state after state. We're seeing that with wins in very close seconds. And as you know, most of those close seconds would have become firsts if we had all rallied behind Rick Santorum. And so, you know, I would never, ever suggest to a candidate they should either get in or get out of a race. That's a personal decision. But I would suggest that if conservative and Tea Party people are really, truly believing that we need someone who fits our core principles of our party, that it is time to unite behind a single candidate, and I think it's obvious that Rick Santorum is that logical choice.
We're talking to John Brabender, who's the top strategist for Rick Santorum, and here now are the tougher questions, okay? Mitt Romney is able to raise an enormous amount of money. And Mitt Romney does have a 50-state strategy that, you know, over time, so okay, that's boring just to say 50-state strategy, but it does give him the staying power to pick up 7 states last night, and a win is a win. And he squeaks it out in Ohio, but nevertheless, he does win Ohio. Santorum wasn't even eligible for 16 of the delegates in Ohio, which shows some people that, look, Rick Santorum might be a great guy and a strong conservative, but he doesn't have the organization to take on Obama.
Well, but I think a lot of that's changing. You got to understand, when the petitions were due for Ohio was way before Rick Santorum was winning in Iowa and Minnesota and Colorado. There are all these places, and so it's a different organization. Let me give you an example. In the month of February alone, Rick Santorum's campaign had 130,000 individual donors to his campaign nationwide. The distinction here that's very, very important, Romney's campaign is not raising probably any more or as much money as Rick Santorum. I'll guarantee we raised more in February than Mitt Romney. It's Romney's super PAC that is raising with these huge chunks of check. Yesterday they got over $1 million from somebody who is a strong cap-and-trade supporter. You know, I mean, so the problem is we can't afford to let our party pick a nominee simply because this guy has more money than anybody else or has access to more money. I mean, what type of message is that to run on? if we can unify, we're seeing this through small dollar donations, if we can unify behind Rick Santorum, the money will be there. The other important point, if you look at the Rasmussen polls over the last 2 weeks and average them out, Rick Santorum does at least as well or maybe even better against Obama than Mitt Romney does. So this argument that they make all the time that they're the best opponent to Obama just isn't valid when you look at the data.
Well, I'm looking at the races coming up, though. We have Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi. These are states where Gingrich obviously still has somewhat of a hometown advantage. What's Rick's path to victory with these states? Hawaii obviously would be a Romney state. Missouri, Romney is going to run, I think, very tough in and strong in. Kansas, who knows? I mean, that's in Oklahoma, near Oklahoma. Rick did well there. So how does he...
Well, yeah, these are, again, great questions, but take a look at Tennessee as maybe the best example. It's a southern state. I know the Gingrich people were out there telling the press yesterday that they thought they had a real shot to win that thing yesterday. Rick Santorum not only won it, he won it comfortably. He won almost every single county in the state, and Newt Gingrich actually came in third. Same in Oklahoma. There was a lot of reports out that Gingrich was going to win Oklahoma. There was a poll that came out that someone said was Gingrich going to win Oklahoma. Rick Santorum not only won it by a wide margin, but Newt Gingrich came in third. And so the one thing I think that people are missing here that Santorum has proven is he's won in the Midwest, he's won in the Far West, and now he's showing that he can win in the South. He's also won more counties in this country than any of the other candidates. And with that said,
right, but
that's not regional.
Yeah, no, I see that point, but it still is a delegate game and a victory game. And again, going back to the question I raised on January 2nd, when you have two people who are identified as strong conservatives in the race against Mitt Romney, as Eric Erickson points out today, barring a rapid Gingrich exit from the race, Santorum can't, win outright. With the remaining contests, because they're going to split the vote. I mean, even if not split the vote, divide the vote. Because when you add up Santorum and Gingrich, assuming a lot of the Gingrich people would go to Santorum in a place like Ohio, the victory would have been, I think he would have won 52% of the vote.
Absolutely. And there's survey data that shows that. And it's interesting. Many more percentage of Gingrich's vote go to Santorum if he's not there than Santorum votes go to Gingrich. And so clearly, and this is part of our narrative today, if we really want to take on Romney successfully, we need to have a clear shot. Take a look at Missouri. When Gingrich didn't make it on the ballot in Missouri, right, it was Santorum just against Romney. We won by 30 points and won every single county.
Right. So back to the strategist. You're the strategist in this campaign. You guys have a couple of really smart people who've been working with Santorum on this. Do you not need to put your heads together with the Gingrich people and say, guys, this is it. This is it for conservatism. We have a couple of stands here, and that's it. And we have got to come together. I mean, it seemed to me that all this is fun and hypotheticals of what we're going to do in Missouri and so forth. But with Newt Gingrich in the race, Rick Santorum is highly, highly, highly unlikely to be the nominee of the Republican Party when we go into this convention. It's just highly unlikely.
I think it is very important that there's a line in the sand now where everybody gets serious and say we're going to unite behind one candidate. I think Rick Santorum has proven over and over again he's that candidate. We would certainly welcome, first of all the Gingrich supporters, the delegates who aren't binding, all those people to say we're getting behind Rick Santorum. And I will tell you, Rick Santorum has remarkable respect for Newt Gingrich as one of the greatest solutions and ideas guys that this country has ever seen. And, certainly Newt Gingrich's ideas would be extremely welcome, and
you could use his help. You could use his help with debate prep, with getting out of problems, and not stepping on the landmines. I mean, I think Gingrich has been around the block, and the two of them together. I'm just looking at the emails that I'm getting into my website. I don't have a dog in this fight. I like the strategy end of it, and for me, if I'm you, all I know is I'm on the phone with the Gingrich campaign. I'm on the phone, and we're talking. We would love to have their supporters,
but we would also love to have Newt. There's no doubt about it.
And assigning the delegates at the convention, he brought up the point of the number of delegates that are not binding. How many of those aren't bound to vote for the candidate that they pledge?
It's a significant part at this point, and my bet would be that the vast majority of Gingrich delegates would much rather support Rick Santorum than Mitt Romney.